Okay, in this video, I'm going to take a few minutes to go over group assignment number 2, management and leadership in the real world. This is where 20% of your overall mark. It is due week 12, and you can have a group up to 5 students to complete the course, the assignment, and everyone will receive the same grade. So essentially the purpose of the assignment is to analyze an organization and apply the management and leadership theories, terms, and concepts that we have learned in this course. The assignment works best when the organization you choose is large enough to provide information and material to examine. You will be interviewing a manager leader from the organization as part of the analysis. So in a nutshell, you have to find an organization, you have to find a leader or manager within that organization, and you're going to conduct an interview. So what questions will you be asking, or what material will you be covering? So if I look down here, step 1, form a team or a group of 5 people. Step 2, what you're going to do is you're going to choose 2 or 3 topics from the course that you're most interested in. And here are some examples. You might choose the leader as an individual in chapter 4, courage and moral leadership, motivation, empowerment, leading teams. You can even choose material in chapter 13, 14, and 15 that we have not covered to date. So any of those topics would suffice or would be great. Basically figure out what interests you, narrow it down to 2 or 3 topics, and that is where your questions for the interview are going to come from. Choose a company and research it. Create the questions that you will ask at the interview to help you uncover how a particular organization deals with the topics that you have selected. And I will go through an example later on. It is very important that you read the section of professional and ethical guidelines when interviewing someone. After that, you're going to compile what you've learned and to what extent do the theories we've learned apply, to what extent don't they apply, and what have you learned. And you're going to create a report. This report is going to be due, as I said, up here in week 12. And what is included in the report? So as always, it'll be APA style. You'll have a cover page, you'll have an introduction, the background of the organization, and then 3 sections. And the 3 sections are going to be the analysis of the questions and topics that you've selected, a conclusion, and then in the appendix, I want a reference page, the interview questions, and your proposal, which is really going to detail who did what, right? If you have a group of 5, how is the work divided and broken up? 8 to 10 pages, excluding the cover page. Here are the professional guidelines in conducting the interview that you can read in more detail. And here's a sample. So I chose motivation and empowerment, which was chapter 8. And then I came up with these questions to really go in depth with this topic. How does the organization reward and recognize people? What is a formal reward program? To what extent do managers and leaders use informal rewards? To what extent are these approaches successful, and what general differences, if any, have you noticed in terms of how people are rewarded and recognized? So there's an example of one section. You're going to do 3 of those, and then I have attached the rubric here so you can go through and figure what it would take to earn the full 20%. Okay, so that is an overview of assignment 2. The other thing I want to point out is you will have a group proposal. So this is a proposal outlining what needs to be done for this assignment. It is worth 2% and it is due week 10. And you're going to answer these 3 questions. What organization do you plan on studying? Who do you plan on interviewing? What is their role? And you're going to create your own chart here and come up with who is doing what. So I know by week 10 that you've formed a group and that you've divided the work. What topics are you choosing? Who's doing the interview? Who's doing the conclusion, the appendix, and the final editing? And this will be submitted, as I said, at the beginning of class, week 10. That way I know you're organized and ready to go. And then the assignment 2 will be due week 12. If you have any questions about any of that information, please do not hesitate to ask.